um, X, etc., etc. Just go live on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of people are watching this at the same time. So I wanted to be able to chat to people, see what everyone's thinking, see how this all goes. If you want to see the video at the same time, head on over to YouTube and you can see my screen and you can see me as well. We've got a minute and a half left. Let me just sort out my screens. There we go. Hey Maverick, how you doing? Just in time. We are launching in 1 minute 20. I'm over on YouTube as well. You want to see the screen as well, but I'm assuming the people on TikTok right now have me on their telephone and they have the launch itself on their main device. Interestingly, chat has been disabled for the launch on YouTube. Maybe they're going to open it up. But last time they did a big launch, everybody was complaining. What was it they were complaining about? I forget what it was, but everyone was focused on one tiny little detail. I think it was Sora, and Sora hadn't been released. Everyone was about it. So maybe they've decided they've had enough of that and they're not going to leave the chat open. We now know officially this is ChatGPT 5. The title of the live stream is literally introducing GPT-5. So no more speculation. This is it. And we're starting in 30 seconds. So what I'm going to do, if you're on TikTok, you'll be able to hear the audio, but I highly recommend you head over to YouTube. And you can either watch it on the OpenAI channel or you can hop on to my live stream. So I'm on YouTube as well. You can see me there. With the live stream. I'm going to try and juggle everything because I have a lot of screens going on. And here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to shush. $700 million. Not AGI. So we have this already. Hmm. Poor Sam's a bit nervous, I think. Bless him. Okay. So far, not very many details. We already have a team of experts in our pocket, so I want to know what the difference is. I'm going to get some details now, though. chain of thought. Okay. So it looks like they're combining 4.0 and O 03, the capabilities into one model, so you don't have to choose reasoning. Hmm. Okay, so right now it's sounding like more but better, which is less than I was expecting. I was hoping something a big shift. I was hoping for a much larger context window, for example. You might still get that, but right now the way they're framing it is it's really good. It's really intelligent. I don't think that's enough to put it apart from the other platforms right now, especially things like Anthropic. Totally fine, but these are just benchmarks. Mean it is going to be free. I've just said that this model is going to be free for all. As somebody asked when it comes to Europe, generally the main models come out at the same time globally. So what tends to be delayed are things like Sora, things like advanced voice mode, so tools that they add onto it. But the main actual models, GPT-4, GPT 4.0, etc., came out at the same time. Oh, oh, so they're talking about the fact that it is less likely to hallucinate and it has a higher factfulness. However, they just said they created their own internal benchmarks to test this. When you create your own benchmarks, I worry a bit that you also fit your model to those benchmarks. We'll actually have to see whether this is true or not. That if they can do that, that's one of the holy grails is to make sure a large language model doesn't just make stuff up. Okay, today. Okay. It's going to be free, everybody. That's exciting, but with limitations in how much you can use it. So if you're on the free plan, you get access to GPT-5. Great. But as soon as you hit a limit, we don't know what that is. It could be quite small. You need a plus plan, and then the pro plan, $200 a month, has the most limit, unlimited use. I want to know what Mobius is. It's a new tool. Okay, they're going to work through an example. I just saw in chat, Tony says you can use it now if you change the URL. Tony, can you tell us what that URL is? I just tried this myself by changing it to model equals GPT-5, and it's not working for me. What URL have you got? Let's see if we can get other people into it ASAP. Um, and yes, you can watch the full video on my YouTube channel if you want to see, if you're on TikTok right now. They're going through a task right now. This stuff's absolutely fine, talking about the intelligence of it, but I want to see things like the context window. Have they increased the amount of memory that it has, for example? Because just telling us it's smarter and then showing us some benchmarks is fine. It's absolutely fine, but the differential, the delta between each of these models and their intelligence is decreasing each time. They're already smarter than a lot of us in a lot of fields. So just making them even more smarter in, quantum physics and really high end fields doesn't help the majority of us that much. Um, but good news is it's coming to the free models. Sorry, the free users, and it should be out today. There will probably be a staggered rollout starting in America right now. It is quite sweet when they get these engineers to do these public-facing PR events, because you can tell how terrified they are about it, and I really feel for them. They're doing a great job. Oh, Marcin, somebody is saying they've got it already. So Marcin, I know, is in the UK. I believe you're in the UK right now, Marcin. So it's rolling out now. Oh, hang on. This demo, it's been writing for the last minute and a half, 2 minutes. That tells me or suggests that there's a longer context window, because the context window on the current models is abysmal. Hopefully, they give us some details. Okay, they're just looking. Ben says, "What's it supposed to be improving on?" 4.0. Yeah, basically, what it looks like they're doing, I do not have access yet, but I'll be able to confirm this. It looks like they've brought their models together. So their main models are the O3 reasoning model and 4.0, which is their general workhorse model. It looks like they've brought them together, and now ChatGPT 5, GPT-5 will decide whether it's going to go into reasoning mode for you or not. That's really exciting because right now there's 700 million people who use ChatGPT. Most people don't know about the little drop down. They don't know to put it in O3, and even if you click on that menu, it is really confusing. So if I click on it now, I've got 4.0, O3, O4 Mini, O4 Mini High, GPT 4.5, 4.1, and most people have no idea what that means. So just combining the models and allowing ChatGPT to decide how best to approach a task, even that tiny little tweak is going to make it much more powerful for everyday users. For people who know how to switch between these models, less useful, I would say. Okay, this demo is quite impressive, actually. Oh, wow. Oh, oh, okay. They're deprecating their old models, so 4.0, O3, et cetera, will no longer be available. Maybe via the API? Oh god, this is a nightmare if you've built software on them. A lot of people might have just spat their drinks out. If you've built on the other models and they're being deprecated, this is a huge issue. I assume they're still gonna be available in the API, and it's in the chatbot version, ChatGPT, where they won't be accessible. I've just spotted an M dash and a GP. Oh, several M dashes. So if you're looking at what's on screen right now, there are multiple M dashes. They should just remove the ability for it to do M dashes. I see several on the screen. So far, everything they're talking about is a difference of quantity rather than quality. Everything's a bit better. Nothing here is exciting me yet. I'm sure it's gonna be a really good model, and it will be the best model that we have, but there's nothing that's jumping out at me and making me go, "Wow," compared to 4.0 or Claude Opus, for example. I hope there will be. They still have 40 minutes, so there's a lot of time left. But right now, everything is it's better. Somebody's just asked how many GPTs are there? They're about to deprecate all of the old other GPTs and only have GPT-5. So GPT-5 should be the only GPT that you're going to be interacting with on the app and on the web browser version. However, I just saw there was a drop down and it had GPT-5 thinking. So that's confusing because they've just said that it should switch into the mode automatically, or it doesn't even need modes. But I just saw him switch out of GPT-5 thinking into GPT-5 standard. So I don't think they haven't mastered their communications here. And because OpenAI have always been really bad at this. They've had too many models with too many names, and it's confused consumers. I think they're still going to be doing that to a certain extent. But again, I don't have access to that speculation. Sydney's saying, "How can I watch this?" It's over on YouTube. It's going on the OpenAI live stream right now, or you can hop onto my YouTube channel, and then you can see both me and the live stream. Sorry, I just got shit on TikTok. More code's not better code, though. Hmm. So this guy Jan just vibe coded an app. It's a French learning French flashcard app. It looks good. It looks fine. So this is potentially bad news for the vibe code in apps if you can vibe code directly in ChatGPT. That said, they will probably integrate ChatGPT 5 into their own apps as well and make their products even better. But if I was someone like Lovable or Replete or Bolt right now, I'd be looking at this like a bit scary because now 700 million people have access to this. This is how ChatGPT win is that they have distribution. They have become synonymous with artificial intelligence. So them putting these tools into the hand of 700 million people and making it easy, that's scary if you are a startup who's trying to build this stuff on the side. Oh, so he just vibe coded an app with one prompt, which included a French education module, a flashcard module, and then a mini game that can test your French and speak French out loud. It's also multimodal, excuse me. So it has the ability to speak in French. Yeah, it has user interface. It has user account experience tracking. This is all off one prompt. So this is pretty impressive. So again, as with all demos, we need to get our hands on it and test it. I will be testing the coding out today, and I'll have some thoughts on it tomorrow morning when I do my live. I kind of appreciate how rough and ready these presentations are compared to something like Google, which is a big stage. It's a big dramatic presentation. I quite like this. Just a couple of engineers with a laptop. It's a lot more homely, and this is on purpose. They know what they're doing here. They're talking about advanced voice mode. Cool. So voice mode has come into free plans. That's really cool. So if you haven't used advanced voice mode, it is really good. And the fact that they're bringing it out to free accounts and they're giving them almost unlimited access is really cool. It's a very, very neat tool. You can also, not many people do this or know about this, you can also turn on your video camera and show it what you are seeing. So I did my whole YouTube setup doing that by showing it like my wires, what I was looking at and saying, hey, what's going on? What am I doing wrong? Or you can show it, something that's broken in your car engine and it will be able to work that out by looking and helping you to analyze. It's a really, really cool feature and it looks like it's coming to the free version too. Okay, so this is all more incremental. It's great because they're making a lot of stuff that was previously only paid, making that free. That's fantastic. I'm not seeing much that's new yet. Chrissy just said ChatGPT voice butts in when you're speaking, so there's a way to do that. I will say to it, "Do not interrupt me until I say over," or "Don't speak until I say I'm done." So you can actually prompt it. So you can use that over and out as you would on a radio, uh, and then it doesn't just interrupt you every time you pause the thought. So that's what I do, and that works really well. So I just use over or I'm done speaking. It's not a not a very human way to talk to somebody, but it works really well with ChatGPT. Okay, again, cool. This is an incremental addition to the advanced voice mode. You have more control over it. You can give it custom instructions. You can change the speed at which it speaks. Do that before, but apparently not. Um, Fine. The big news here is that it's available on the free model, so it's rolling out to 700 million users. The reason they can do that is because the older models that they've used to build these functionalities are becoming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper to run, and they're moving people onto new models as well. So I think that's very cool. So again, there's 700 million people who are using ChatGPT. Oh, okay, they're talking about an existing feature. I think they're about to release it for free as well, which is cool. Oh, okay. This is cool. So they're adding Gmail and G Calendar integration to ChatGPT. What are Google doing? Google, this is a bad idea. You should not Google need to be focusing on their own AI. Ooh, this is a problem. Oh, silly Google. Okay, really, really cool. It's going to allow integration with Gmail and with G Calendar, GCal. So if you are using them, you can now talk to ChatGPT and it can act more like your assistant. Really cool. This is only going to be on the paid plan by the looks of it. No idea why Google has allowed this because this infringes on their product. Like Gemini and putting AI into Gmail should have been what they've been up to. One thing that I would warn about is giving access to your Gmail and your calendar to ChatGPT. That's a lot of information. That's an awful lot of information that we are going to be giving to ChatGPT and OpenAI. Just something to flag up now. This is going to be an issue in the next few weeks, I think. Or build a bomb. Yeah. So they're talking about safeguards, and previously ChatGPT would only either answer your question or refuse to answer your question. I think what they're building is some kind of scale here, which is a good idea. So it looks like it's going to start to answer your question. If you ask it how to make a bomb, for example, it will begin to answer and then review the answer that it's given you as it gives you that answer, and then based on that, change the answer or stop answering you. This is a lot like DeepSeek. You can ask DeepSeek about Tiananmen, for example, and it will start to give you information, and then it realizes, and it's like, oh, wait, no, I can't do that, and it will remove the answer and replace it with a, oh, I can't answer that, or some other smaller answer. So it sounds a bit like that system that they used. It didn't necessarily ban you on the prompt, it blocked you on the answer as it started to come through. This is a more intensive way to do it because it requires the model to start answering. But as she's saying, I think her name's Sachi, as she says, it allows the model to start to answer and then decide whether or not the question that you've asked is problematic, which is, I think, an improvement. It's very cool. Subtle, but improvement. Oh, here we go. Have you? Oh, he didn't give us any details. Okay, if what he just said is true, that's probably the most important thing in this whole presentation. One of the limitations of large language models and generative AI is that they're going to run out of data. We need to create more data using AIs, but that leads to a reversion to the mean. They may have cracked that. We didn't give us any details. Let's see what Sam's about to say, though. Okay, not to be brutal, but they're going to talk about a health journey for a while. Then he's going to tell us that they have a new health care model or something that can help with healthcare. So I'm going to answer some questions for a moment. Um, Imagine going back in time, not even that far, a few years, and telling people would be able to make a fully functioning app from a single sentence. Yeah, although people still think that the technology is not impressive, which I always find bewildering, that people aren't excited about this stuff, but that's fine. So there's a lot of stuff coming out. I think the best news so far is that GPT-5 is going to be available for free. So there's going to be limitation caps on it, obviously, but I think that's really great that they're going to be giving this new model to everybody. Sounds like the reason they're doing that is because they are removing 4.0, they're removing O3, so the old model is getting deprecated. So that kind of means by default everybody has to move on to GPT-5. That's fine. If it's a better model, that's fantastic for everybody. I do wonder if it means that free users actually end up being able to use ChatGPT less on a daily basis, because previous models, maybe they were used to a certain amount of capacity, and that's now been removed because they're going to deprecate those models and they're replacing it with the new model, which might have lower capacities. I don't know. We're going to find out over the next few weeks. I'm sure if that is the case, we will hear that very loudly. The other things that I'm hearing are mainly improvement of like quality. It is better at this, it's better at that, it's better at coding, it's better at writing, it's better at the benchmarks we give it, that's fine. We see this with every single model improvement. That's kind of no longer sufficient to get anyone excited. It's just expected. That's the bare minimum you have to do. In about, I don't know, a month or so, I'm sure that Anthropic will come out with their new Opus 4.1 and it will be again better. So everything is improving all of the time. So right now, there's nothing here that has blown me away. Again, we still have 20 minutes, so maybe we're going to see something exciting. But right now, it looks like more better, which again, I'm not ungrateful. That's still very exciting. It's still amazing that we are in this world where this technology exists. Let's see what they're saying. We have to remember these models are not thinking. They're using the word thinking here. They're not being as careful as they should be about it. These are still large language models. They're still statistically based. They're based on the probable answers. They're stochastic. You ask them the same question multiple times and you'll get different answers. At base, they are still based on probability. They're not thinking. So they're using the word thinking, throwing it around a lot here. I think that's a little bit irresponsible. Um, the argument could be made that the practical outcome of it is no different to human thinking, and we don't understand how humans think anyway. But I still think it's a little bit irresponsible. That's why you'll often see me throw up scare quotes whenever I talk about ChatGPT thinking. It's a useful metaphor, but it's not actually what it's doing. So the fact that they're throwing around the word so much is a little worrying. Although it has said we're not at AGI, although even when we're at AGI, maybe it's open thinking. These are bigger questions. They're still we're still talking about healthcare. Timon says, "Is GPT-5 already out?" Yes, it is. Her says, "When out?" It is out now, but it's gonna be a rollout. So I've already heard some people in the UK have it. I do not. I'm going to be frantically refreshing. Somebody suggested you could change the URL in order to get it. So question mark model equals GPT, then put in GPT-5. It's not working for me. It might for other people. Oh, here we go. So we're talking about GPT-5 for developers and businesses now. Oh, here's Greg. He's got a jacket like Jensen Huang of NVIDIA. Same jacket. Again, we're being told it's better, that it's the best in the world. I need to know like the context window, and the benchmarks are not quite enough. We're not getting much concrete detail here. Okay, fine. Vibe coding is amazing. Greg Brockman is entirely right there. Current best ones are Gemini 2.5 and Claude Code. Funnily enough, the OpenAI team used Claude Code, and they recently got banned from it. Anthropic cut off their access. They were using it to produce GPT-5. They were using it to work on their own projects, which kind of tells you a lot. The fact that the OpenAI team were using Claude models. Okay, here we go. Mini and Nano. These are the alternative models. So there are multiple models, so GPT-5, GPT-5 Mini, GPT-5 Nano. If you are using it on the app or the web interface, you don't need to worry about these. It looks like it's just going to be the GPT-5 model. If you are using on the API in order to make your own software, for example, then you can get access to these new models. And it looks like they're stripped down versions of it. But it looks therefore like they've been true to their promise that we're going to simplify this. So instead of having 4003, 4.1, 4.5, 40 mini, 40 mini high, etc., they're going to get rid of all of those and all you have when you log on to GPT-5. That's it. If you're not a coder, this means nothing to you, and don't worry about it too much. It's cool, it's fine, it's incremental. We need to know about the context window. That's all that matters here. Okay, again, this is great for developers, it's great for coders. If you are using Cursor, this would be great. I should check my Cursor and see if it's updated and has these models already. Um, if you do not develop with ChatGPT, it doesn't matter. It's not important. I don't have anything in my Cursor. Do I need to update? No, there's no updates. So this stuff's cool. If you're a developer, great. It's better. There are improvements. None of this is blowing my socks off. Same with the other demonstrations they gave. Just saying, "Oh, it's better at coding, it's better at language, it's better at, these various tasks," that's fine, but it's not that exciting. I think what people will be looking for was decreases in hallucinations, which they have said they have managed. They've got a benchmark saying that the hallucinations are decreased. However, it's an internal benchmark, so we are just going to have to test it and see if that's true. That's one of the main issues that stops a lot of normal people, lay people, everyday people from using GPT or any AI is that it runs into hallucinations and it makes mistakes. If they have actually genuinely tracked that and managed to make it more introspective and reflective and checking its sources, that's going to be a really big push. The other big thing here you missed earlier is that GPT-5 is going to be available for the free plans as well. Okay, she's still talking about software engineering benchmarks. Again, it's fine, but we see these improvements every month or so. So every time a new model comes out, it beats the others, which isn't to degrade the importance of that. It's just it's incremental rather than revolutionary. I'm surprised they haven't talked about they've got 15 minutes left. I'm surprised they haven't talked about image or video. If they have a new video generator like Grok added, Grok Imagine, that's gonna be what we're gonna be seeing the next couple of weeks. That's gonna be what takes over social media. That works really well for their marketing and getting their the word out there, much more than like boring things like, productivity at work and coding. So if they've created, the ability to make videos and given it to the free users, that will be a showstopper. We've only got 10 minutes now, so let's see. Oh, here we go. Was that it? That was the context window. So they've bumped the context window to 256,000 instead of 200,000. Is that it? Did I mishear that? Because that's disappointing if that's the case. Um, ooh, that's really disappointing. So, for example, Gemini has a context window of 1,000,000, Gemini Pro, 2.5, 2,000,000 context windows. So bumping your context window from 200,000 to 250,000 is speaking truth. Okay, they can do a demo of the pair coding. Do you think it'll be there today in Germany, or is it like first UK and US? So, um, generally, the main models release simultaneously. There's staggered rollout as the servers update, etc. Generally, GPT-4, GPT-4o, they're released day and date everywhere. What tends to get delayed and staggered are things like advanced voice mode. I think it took an extra 2 or 3 months in the UK and then a bit longer in the EU. And things like Sora took 2 or 3 months as well. So the additional tools tend to take a bit longer. I think we'll see the actual model releasing everywhere. That said, the EU AI Act came into force about a week ago. That might change. That might change things. I've already had people in the audience though say that they have access and they are in the UK. Generally, the UK is still on the same timeline as the EU. Um, this is all very vague, but yes, generally, roughly. So the fact that some people are already seeing it right now means I think it is going global, and you should all have it pretty soon. They're also deprecating their old models, which means they have to replace them very quickly with GPT-5. So I think they're going to do a clean sweep, get rid of 4.0, get rid of O3, get rid of all the others, and replace them with GPT-5 basically overnight. Big job. Mark and Simon, no, they haven't said anything about agent. They haven't said that much, honestly. GPT-5 is going to become the only model, so they're deprecating the previous models. GPT-5 is going to be available for free users as well. They have talked in general terms about it's going to be better. It's going to be better at writing. It's going to be better at coding. It's going to be better at helping you out. Advanced voice mode is coming to the free platform. That's great. And then they've been showing us coding and the API and the improvements there. Nothing has blown me out of the water so far. We have 5 minutes left, so come on, Sam. Mm, don't need coders. So this looks like he's using cursor, but my cursor doesn't have it yet, which is sad. Let me have a look. No, might have to add it. That's the same as any model that we're using right now. If that's true, it's game over for coders, but we'll try it out. I have a complex task, so I'll try and run it tonight if I get access. Martin Simon says, "This seems like a new iPhone launch." Do you know what it feels like? It feels like a recent iPhone launch where they come out and they're like, "The camera's a bit better, got more memory." It's incremental. This doesn't feel like a Steve Jobs launch where he pulls the iPod out of his pocket and he says, whatever he said, 1,000 songs in your pocket. I'm not seeing anything revolutionary. I think Greg Brockman put it really well here. He said, every benchmark gets, 80, 90, 99% now, so that doesn't mean very much. So we have to show it to you. He's 100% right. All of these models are smashing it out of the park. So it's really hard to differentiate yourself, basically. It's very hard to show something where people will sit back and be like, wow, this is different, because they are all so good. So it means these kind of presentations are incremental. It's, oh, it's a bit better at this task, it's a bit better at this task, which is a lot like a modern Apple presentation, unfortunately. Yeah, our expectations are so high. We want to sit down to this kind of thing and be like, wow, tomorrow my world has changed and like everything has changed. That said, if this coding is correct, if it can one-shot code without getting into death loops, etc., that's going to be a huge change. But we need to test it. We'll see. I feel for them. It's kind of hard to demonstrate this in an exciting way because it is just ChatGPT plinking away in the background, writing code, which visually is death if you're up on stage. I often give workshops and I have to give like demonstrations of what it does, and it's just ChatGPT writing stuff in the background. It's like not very exciting. Um, so I do feel for them. But at least they're showing it live. So this is what Google and Microsoft and some of the other people don't do. They have a very polished presentation where they just show you the end results, and you're meant to be like, "Ooh, wow, fancy." OpenAI, in their defense, they have a bunch of people who are not public speakers. I'm I'm not down on them for that, but they are engineers. They're engineers who come up and they give a product demonstration, warts and all, which I think is commendable. Right now, they've asked it to do a design task, and it would create a they're doing a finance dashboard. It's taken far too long. I think they're vamping in order to fill up the time. Bless them. They're struggling because it hasn't given them what they want, what they need to show. So it's continuing to work. That's quite impressive, though. The fact that it's continuing to work and it hasn't run out of context. It's staying within its context window. That's pretty cool. Which is great if you're trying to one-shot an application, you're trying to one-shot a function that you want to add to your software. You can give it an instruction, you can go make a cup of tea, and it will just go off and work for you. Great in practical applications. Death, if you are given a presentation, you need to show something on screen because this is fiddling around. Oh, it's nearly done. npm run build. It's building the website, so we're about to see it. Oh, not yet. Come on, guys. Okay, here we go. npm run dev. Yeah. I hope this works. Hey! I'm glad it worked for them. That would have been excruciating. That's interesting. The design aesthetic reminds me of the recent Apple redesign with the transparencies and the kind of soft colors behind glass. I forget what they call it exactly. It reminds me of that, though. Looks fine. Okay, yep, it looks good. We need to get our hands on it. If you have not tried vibe coding, this might be your sign to give it a shot. Still, tools like Lovable make it really easy, but it looks like you can now do this directly in GPT-5. They just use Cursor, but I think you can probably put your app idea or a website idea into GPT-5, and it's going to be able to mock that up for you. Obviously, if you want to deploy it on a website or publish it to the App Store, there are additional steps. But at that point, you can actually ask ChatGPT, okay, now that we have built this, what would I do to get this on the App Store? What are the additional steps, for example? Oh, they're having technical difficulties. Interestingly, they're using Cursor. Um, So they don't have their own, coding environment to show us using Cursor. Oh, wow. He just vibe coded a 3D game, and it's pretty good after one prompt. That's really cool. Okay, this is cool. It's a fun little toy example, but at least it's visual. I think the exciting thing here is that the basics of this will be available for free users as well. Obviously, this is built in Cursor, which is a bit more complicated, but I think we might be able to mock this up in the main UI. I don't know, I might be wrong there. It depends what language this is built in. But we are gonna be able to mock up at least websites and, applications, not necessarily 3D models. I think that's gonna be beyond it. I might be wrong though. Ice is asking, "Did OpenAI just kill Lovable?" So Lovable are the fastest growing startup on Earth right now with 100 million, revenue, ARR within the shortest amount of time ever. I'm actually going to see them in 20 days. I'm flying out to Stockholm to go and see them. Uh, I don't know. I will ask them what were they thinking when they were watching this. Generally, all of these tools like Lovable, Bolt, Cursor, whatever, you can slide in the other models. So the models getting better actually increases the value of your company. The question is whether or not OpenAI will just come along and eat your lunch. So if OpenAI had released a coding editor, for example, they could have eaten Cursor, but they have not. They're using Cursor. Oh, oh, they have the CEO of Cursors here. So it read their code base, which makes me wonder about their context window. Tony is saying that Cursor is too intimidating and Lovable remains accessible. 100% agree. So Cursor looks like traditional software development. I mean, it is. It's based on VS Code. It looks like eh, a complicated programming tool, and it is. It gives you that kind of power as well. Whereas Lovable is a lot more approachable. It looks like ChatGPT. So I think Lovable is going to be fine. They will integrate GPT-5 underneath, but they will provide the user experience that makes it a lot easier. This is cool. So the CEO of Cursor, they've found a problem that's been open for weeks, and they're going to see if it can solve it in real time. Oh, it's fast. Oh, it's really fast. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. So this has always been one of the big criticisms that rightfully coders and programmers have had against ChatGPT and other artificial intelligences is that it cannot understand the whole code base. So what it tends to do is it will hyperfixate on a particular problem. Let's say you have a button on your website which is the wrong color or the wrong size or whatever. It will hyperfixate there. It will fix that, but it will do that sometimes at the detriment of other things on your website because it is not seeing the whole picture. So it will cause, it will solve something, but then create other problems elsewhere. And you end up with this kind of whack-a-mole where you are chasing down problems and you're solving one thing and then suddenly another bug that you'd already solved pops up, etc. It's because it doesn't have that comprehensive understanding. And what they're saying is that GPT-5 has has the ability to understand the whole code base, which should theoretically mean it can avoid that kind of mistake, which is very exciting. Also, it was fast. Um, I was watching it live there, and my reaction was, "Wow, that's fast." And then the CEO, of course, was like, "Yeah, it's really fast." It's impressive. Oh, Martin, are you watching as well? The coding demo does look legit. Do you have access over in the US yet? So it's gonna be free in cursive the next few days, so, go nuts. I'm gonna be busy. Oh, his microphone broke. Okay, we're talking about enterprise level. Apparently, enterprise is gonna be a week later, so everyone else is getting it today. Enterprise is gonna be a slow rollout. Okay, they're talking about enterprise, which is exciting but less relevant for a lot of us. For those of you who've just joined the live, a couple of updates. GPT-5 is coming out today. It should be, we haven't been told different, it should be a worldwide rollout. All of the other large model updates have been simultaneous across the globe. It tends to be the individual tools like Advanced Voice Mode or Sora, which come a bit later to the UK and the EU. I've had several people in my chat say they have it already. I have not got it myself in the UK, maybe later today. It's going to be free for free users, which is exciting. Part of the reason for that is they are deprecating, they're getting rid of 4.0, they are getting rid of O3, they're getting rid of all those other models that are going to be deprecated. I believe they're still going to be in the API. So if you have built software based on those models, you must be able to access them via the API. They did not say whether or not that is the case. If not, there's going to be a lot of very, very panicked developers. So I assume you can still use them through the API. Otherwise, it's going to be absolute chaos. Um, so what the other things? Oh, advanced voice mode is coming to the free version. In terms of GPT-5 model, the model itself, we We haven't been given that much concrete. We've been told it's better at coding, it's better at vibe coding, it can look at your whole, code base, it's better at writing, it has a better written style that's more natural. I noticed a few M dashes, they haven't managed to get rid of that, and it is generally better. We haven't seen anything that has blown my socks off personally. I think the coding has probably been the most impressive. It looks fast, it looks accurate, it looks great. So I think we might have a contender for Claude Code and Gemini 2.5, which is great. Well, we're getting the prices now. So GPT-5 is $25 for 1,000,000 tokens. Okay, we're coming to the end. So this comes the same day as Sam Altman was posting photos of Death Star. So responsibility, they're saying, is a big deal. But Sam Altman is posting bizarre pictures, two different heads. Okay, that is it. Um, oh, okay. Fine. Nothing blew my socks off. Think I mean, I'm fairly moderate, so it looks fine. The new coding model in particular looks great. It looks extremely fast, and if it can genuinely one-shot complex problems over a large code base, that is a game changer. That is a very bad thing if you are a programmer, uh, because that has been one thing that has been holding back the tide of artificial intelligence is its inability to basically grok a whole code base. So this could be for whom the bell tolls moment. We will have to check it out. We need to get it into Cursor. We need to get it into our applications. I'm going to get rid of YouTube. Um, Apart from that, though, everything that I saw was about incremental improvement. It was about making it slightly better. They've given us benchmarks, but they also admitted that the benchmarks mean less and less as the models all become almost perfect at claiming these benchmarks. They also told us a bunch of the benchmarks were internal benchmarks, including the one uh, about non-hallucination. It's a benchmark they've built. So again, we need to test it out. We need to try it in everyday life. I think the most important thing here is, in a very weird way, it's about UI and UX. It's about normal people, everyday people, not people watching this live stream. You are in the minority of people who actually really pay attention to this stuff. You wouldn't be watching me on a Thursday evening otherwise. But normal people who are going to pick up their phone tomorrow and they're going to use ChatGPT, who don't even know there was an announcement. They don't know there's a new ChatGPT 5. They don't care. They're not thinking about this thing. They're going to use ChatGPT 5 tomorrow and be like, huh, that's really good. Because suddenly the new model is going to help them when they have a certain type of question, it's going to point the model in different directions. So if they have a question that needs a reasoning model, something that needs to think through the process, it's going to automatically put them into that lane so that they get a better answer. They won't know necessarily that they're in a different part of the model or that they've been pushed down a chain of thought, and they don't care and they don't need to know. That's absolutely fine. Because previously you had to click that horrible little drop down menu and see O3, 4.0, 4.5, 4.1, O4 mini, O4 mini high, etc. And if you didn't know what was going on in there, I mean, even I'm somebody who uses this every day and I don't know what all those models are. Like, it's a mess. So as a normal user, you'd look at that and be like, I don't know. And you just leave it in 4.0. So simply by allowing the model to push you into the reasoning model when you have a complicated question, I think that's going to be a game changer. I think a lot of people are going to, over the next few weeks, be like, oh, ChatGPT is really smart now. And it's like, yeah, because they're now using a reasoning model and they haven't been doing that for the last year or so. I think that is probably going to be the big improvement here. That's not necessarily exciting for people who use it every day, people who know how to change models, people who use other models like Claude, for example. But I think for the 700 million people who use ChatGPT who aren't necessarily as deep as we are, I think that's going to be a game changer. And that's really exciting. The other thing is it's going to become free. So GPT-5 will be the free model. Somebody has just asked, so why am I paying for Pro? This is always the question whenever they release any kind of new update, especially when they release it to free people. It's about capacity. So the free version is going to have a lower capacity. The Pro is going to have unlimited capacity, and the Plus premium plus, whatever it is, the $20 a month in the middle is going to have like a mid capacity. So Pro will have unlimited. I imagine, and this is what they tend to do after these launches, they'll add new tools and it would be Pro who gets them first as well. They didn't mention anything though. There was very little in this presentation that was sexy. So they've done presentations before and they'll be like, here's Sora, here's the advanced voice mode, here are these sexy things, really exciting things. This is going to allow you to create videos you can send to your friend, or things like Google's VO3, you know, people were cutting cakes and there was a galaxy inside. That stuff is really sexy for social media. And it kind of gets the buzz and people are like, wow, look at these new models. Grok had that the other day with Imagine. There was nothing like that in this presentation. This presentation was all business. It was, we've made the model better. It's going to lie to you less. It's going to be able to do your coding problems like more efficiently, faster. If all of this is true, amazing, absolutely game changing. But we don't know. We are just going to have to get our hands on it. One of the big things which they skipped over, which is potentially the most important part of this presentation, it's also incredibly boring. It's the opposite of sexy. It's the unsexiest thing ever. But there was one guy, and I've forgotten his name already, who talked about they've cracked the synthetic data problem. So we have an issue in generative AI right now where we've already given it the whole internet. And we've given it all the books, and we've given it all the magazines. We've given it basically all the information, and Meta have given it all of Facebook. And all of the information has been piped in already, and we need a lot of information to train these models. So it's a combination of how much information you put in, how you filter it, how you sort it, how you label it, etc., plus the sophistication of the model. But unless you have more data, more information to give it, there's going to be a point where the increases in capacity, the increases in intelligence will start to level off, no matter how good your model is. And this is not actually a problem of AI. This is not a problem of machine learning. This is a human species problem. In our last 10,000 years of civilization, we have not created enough information. So if we had more information to give to these models, they would be better. But for example, Wikipedia, compressed and text only, so no images, is only about 25 gigabytes. It fits on a thumb drive. And that is like it's a condensed version of our knowledge. That's not much information, and a computer can process a huge amount more than that. Obviously, the internet's a lot larger, but it's also messy. It needs to be sorted out and filtered and labeled, etc. So one of the big problems is we're going to run out of information because humanity has not created enough information as a civilization. So in order to continue making these models better, one of the ways we do that is we ask the AI to create more information, and then we train our new AIs on that synthetic information. Now, the risk of this is we have like a reversion to the mean. We basically spiral down and we give our AIs crappier and crappier information, and they train and they get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. If we can get it right, then they get better and better and better, and they spiral upwards. We can create more information and then use that increase in data to make an even better model. But it depends on the quality of the information. What one of their scientists said was, "We've cracked it, and it's not going to be a problem." And then they moved on. And I was sitting there like, wait, hang on, hang on, hang on, have you? So hopefully we're going to hear more about that, because if that's been cracked, then generative AI, large language models, etc., will not hit that plateau, or not yet, and they will be able to continue to increase in their capacity for some time yet. They're not necessarily going to be the architecture that takes us to artificial general intelligence. They are not necessarily the architecture that takes us to artificial superintelligence, but this means we're going to hit a wall a lot less soon. So that is maybe the most important thing that was mentioned, but they mentioned it in passing, jumbled amongst a lot of tech terminology, and then he moved on. So who knows? Hopefully they'll have a paper for that. Apart from that, though, I would say relatively underwhelming. I'm sure a lot of people on the internet are going to be a lot less generous than me. I'm sure people are going to be screaming on Twitter tomorrow about how OpenAI has lost the plot and is OpenAI dead, etc., etc. There will be some clickbait videos on YouTube for sure. I think it's fine. I think they have produced a model that is better than everything out there, but so does everybody else when they release a model. We just need to test it. So hopefully, I'm going to keep refreshing. I still don't have it. I've only got 4.0. I'm such a peasant. I don't have it yet. Hopefully, we'll have it overnight and I'll be able to test it out, and I'll be able to give some more thoughts about it tomorrow on my live. So thank you everyone for hopping on, and hopefully that kind of worked. This was a new format. I've never done watching a live stream and chatting at the same time, so I don't really know how to do it, but I thought it would be fun and I was going to watch it anyway. So thank you everybody, and have a lovely evening. I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. London time, when I'll be giving an update of what's going on in the news. You already know what I'm going to be covering. It's basically GPT-5. Hopefully I have access, otherwise you're going to be hearing exactly what I've just said now, but with a bit more reflection. Thank you and have a lovely evening, everyone. Cheers.